All right, y'all, we're only 5 days away from the Jets season opener against the 49ers out in the Bay. So let's get y'all a quick Jets season preview with our New York Post Jets beat writer, Brian Costello. Kyle, let's get straight into this thing, man, and talk about this defense. I feel as though that every position group is stacked with talent on that defense, which was one of the top defenses in the NFL last season. Can they be even better this year? And I'm talking like old school Chicago Bears, 2000 Ravens defense type season.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, Brandon. I don't know if they're in 85 Bears or 2000 Ravens territory, but they're certainly trying to be a very good defense. They've got skill at every level. Quinnen Williams, obviously the defensive line, all-pro caliber. C.J. Mosley, Quincy Williams have proven to be really good linebackers. Then in the secondary of Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, and Michael Carter, all good cornerbacks. So they've got skill at every level. The system works. We've seen that the last 2 years they've been top 5 defenses. To me, the question mark right now is pass rush, right? They lost Bryce Huff, who had 10 sacks last year. Hassan Reddick remains a holdout. Can Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, Michael Clemens, can they pick up the slack there at pass rush? That's really the big question mark on the defense right now.
Michael Carter just got himself a nice little payday being one of the top nickel corner in the NFL. And you were mentioning Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald having a little pressure on them. You think that there's like a added pressure to them to play well early this season, especially with all that Hassan Reddick drama out there?
Without a doubt. I think there's pressure on the Jets to make sure they play well, because if you think about it right now, Hassan Reddick really doesn't have any leverage over the Jets, right? Like there's just, he's withholding services, but the Jets feel like they're okay. If they go into San Francisco Monday night and they can't put any pressure on Brock Purdy and he has a big game, guess who gets a lot of leverage Tuesday morning? Hassan Reddick. So I think the Jets really need these guys to have a good night against San Francisco and produce early and show that they have a pass rush without Hassan Reddick.
Let's Riverside it, talk about the offense, because obviously, as you know, the Jets offense, Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers was the storylines that just kept on giving throughout the offseason. What's your final thoughts on the offense heading into Monday night, Kaz? Because I know you've talked about this Jets offense all throughout, till you're blue in the face. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, look, it has a ton of potential, right? They've got Aaron Rodgers, who's a 4-time MVP. They've got Garrett Wilson, who's this emerging star. Breece Hall's an emerging star, and they have a rebuilt offensive line. Now we need to see it. You know, we've talked about it a lot, but we need to see it on the field together. We didn't really see it much because they didn't play the preseason games. Really, they were together for 2 joint practices. The one joint practice Rodgers didn't participate in the rain against Washington. So it hasn't been a lot of time on task for this group. So we really need to see it. Can they come together quickly? That's a question mark in my mind. Will this revamped offensive line really be that improved and be able to protect Rodgers and be able to open up holes for Breece Hall? You know, this all remains to be seen. So as we've done a lot of talking, Brandon, I want to see it now.
Yep, it's now time to put up or shut up. And when you talk about Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, a revamped offensive line, and we just talked about a top 5 defense, on paper, is this the best Jets squad since the 2010 playoff team in terms of a mixture of young and veteran talent?
Yeah, I mean, I even go back. The team that I thought was the most talented in the last, recent years was 2008, Brandon. They ended up getting kind of overlooked because they didn't make the playoffs, but that was when Favre was here. And, with Rodgers compared to Mark Sanchez in his first or second year, I give this team the edge even over the 09-10 teams in terms of talent. I mean, that group had a great offensive line, but this team has a lot, I think, across the board. Reminds me of that 2008 team in terms of talent-wise. So it's definitely on paper, this is the best Jets team we've seen in more than a decade for sure. And you could probably go back, 15, 16 years.
I know that 2008 team very well. I was with the Miami Dolphins that year. We came up to MetLife and or Old Giant Stadium and beat them. Won the AFC East. I want to get your thoughts on something, because the news just broke that the Broncos and 2-time Pro Bowl cornerback Patrick Surtain reached agreement today on a 4-year, $96 million extension that includes $77.5 million guaranteed. That makes him the highest paid DB in NFL history. I know this guy's going into the 3rd year of his 4-year rookie contract, but how does the PS2 extension affect what Sauce Gardner may get when he's up for a new deal?
Yeah, I mean, look, Brandon, this sets the floor now for Sauce in my eyes, and Sauce is not eligible for a contract extension till after the season. So we'll talk about it this year, but really, there's not a whole lot to talk about until we get to February, March in terms of contract extensions for Sauce. But this resets the market at cornerback, which the cornerback market has kind of been slow to take the jumps. Now, $24 million a year is now the highest paid cornerback. And I think Sauce is rightfully so going to be looking to be the highest paid cornerback, assuming he has a season we expect this year. So I think, this sets the floor, and this is what the Jets now know they're going to have to come up with if they want to get something done with Sauce. That this is the start, right? He's going to want more. He's going to want to be the highest paid, but I think, now we have a general idea of the neighborhood they're going to be shopping in the offseason.
Sauce spent a lot of time on the greens this offseason playing golf. Now he's one successful season away from getting that green. Brian Costello, thanks for hopping on with us.
Thanks, Brandon.